7:30 on NBC.
Yes.
Number 20, USC. Number 13, Notre Dame. Notre Dame is a 7.5 point favorite. In the last 10 meetings of this game, Dan, the winning team has scored at least 30 points 9 times. In many cases, the winning team has scored over 40 points.
Yeah.
The over-under here is 61.5 points. I implore you, my good friends listening at home, your lock of the week is the over.
The over.
Lock of the week.
I have many thoughts on this game, as you might expect. Why don't you lead us off, Dan, since you are, of course, the picker extraordinaire. 7.5 points is the line in favor of Notre Dame. Who you got?
Okay, so here was my starting point. My starting point was Lincoln Riley doesn't win this kind of game ever at USC. A tough road game against a ranked team. I don't know that he's over, but I believe he's over. I believe he is. I sort of went through the old memory bank, speaking of taking it to the bank, and I can't remember a quality road win for Lincoln Riley and USC. Can you? They had their road struggles against literally everybody last year. Yeah. They had the shootout loss. I think it was year one against Utah. That was USC just not being able to figure out how to guard. Was it Dalton Kincaid? It was a tight end. Right. I forget which one. They've struggled here. They've struggled against Notre Dame on the road. They've struggled against Oregon on the road. And each season is its own beautiful, unique flower. Snowflake, take your pick. So USC from 3 years ago does not mean that's who USC is today. But I would have loved to have seen, that's barely grammar, it'd be nice to have seen a Lincoln Riley USC team be prepared to game plan for and execute during a really big road game. And that's not anything we have necessarily seen yet, and you never see it until you do. So I'm open to USC turning the page and winning this game.
Okay. You're open to USC winning is what I'm hearing.
I'm just saying, like, this is how we previewed the Oregon-Penn State game, with me saying James Franklin doesn't win these games.
Right.
So I'm going to be consistent. Lincoln Riley doesn't win these games, but I'm not saying he never will. I'm just saying our very limited sample size, and it is a small sample size sport, so that's all we have to go on, is USC under Lincoln Riley has struggled in these spots.
Okay.
I think USC this year has a lot more to like about them. I think the defense has shown flashes, although I'm not a big believer in them week to week. They certainly showed it last week against Michigan. They were beat up against Illinois. Everybody's beat up at a certain point. And it comes down in this game to the degree of your belief in Notre Dame's defense having grown since Purdue, I guess?
More Texas A&M, but I understand the Purdue.
They gave up 30 to Purdue.
Yeah, I understand that.
And so your belief in whatever, that they've grown since September.
Okay.
And they've looked good against NC State and Boise State. Those teams are not necessarily coming in with the talent that USC is coming in with. There's no Makai Lemon on those rosters. There's no King Miller. I guess I didn't anticipate saying that, who just stomped Michigan. And I think Jaden Mayava is better than Maddox Madsen and CJ Bailey in this moment. So that was my starting point. I'm a big believer in CJ Carr. I'm a big believer in feeling good about home teams in these kinds of spots. But I'm also not fully at a point of trust with Notre Dame's defense, even though they've improved. When I watch them, I don't come away thinking they have the number of killers I'd like to see up front on defense in this moment.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's just to overall belief in their defense. I really like their playmakers on offense, more so than I have in a while, I think. I think there's a good and high ceiling, I think, for what this Notre Dame team can accomplish on offense, especially against USC. I think Notre Dame wins this game, but that number is too high for me. Yep. That number is just too high for me. I think it's a back and forth game. I really do like your pick for the over. I don't think it's going to get as out of hand back and forth as the Texas A&M game, but 35-31, 36-34, something in there, I think is appropriate for this game. I think Notre Dame pulls it out at home.
I've got 38-31.
There you go.
I think it's somewhere in that neighborhood. By the way, I wrote this down so I don't forget it. I don't know if we can see it on the camera.
Let me see. it's a little bit blurred.
Dan open to a USC win.
I'm open to it. Ty.
Great analysis, Dan. Thank you.
Thank you
for sharing that here with the Verballer.
Ty, I have a high bar I need to hit. Penn State is talking about the bar that they need to hit as a program, as a university. I'm open. No, when I say I'm open to USC winning, is I don't think USC will never win this type of game, because I think this is a team that has clearly shown improvement this year, and there are more playmakers, it seems, on defense than in recent years. And whatever Michigan is or isn't, USC played like there was much more to believe in about this defense last week.
If you went to your wife and said, "I just so you know, I don't believe this, but I'm open to, who else might be in the neighborhood,
sure,
who is also a woman." I
don't think my wife has listened to a sentence that long that I've said since 2023. So I could say that and she'd be like, okay, whatever. Married guys, back me up.
Back me up. All right. I'm just giving you crap. That's okay.
No, that's fine. No, that's what I feel. I feel USC is really good. I think they are better than number 20 in the country right now. And I think Notre Dame has a terrific opportunity because of CJ Carr, because of what I think is some growth on this defense under Chris Ash. And it's understandable that you take some time in getting used to a new defense. They're still playing a bunch of man. It's not like they've completely abandoned
it's 56%.
coverage.
So it's not,
which is like
it's more
one of the most in the country, right?
Yeah, it's more than most of the teams in the country, but it's not as man heavy as it was a year ago. It's not.
This is going to be a much bigger offensive test
Yeah.
than what NC State and Boise State this year's versions had to offer these past couple weeks. But look, Arkansas was able to move the ball some for half a quarter. So there's that.
They killed Arkansas. And by the way, Arkansas
that was a turnaround.
Had a shot at Tennessee, right? We saw, just as another frame of reference here, we just got done talking about Tennessee. The defense has definitely improved since the A&M game.
I agree.
But this is still not the Notre Dame defense from 2024. It's just not. And USC is still the top offense per the SP+. So I'm curious to see how Chris Ash and Marcus Freeman and this defensive coaching staff for Notre Dame schemes this one up. Because as you said, they play man, but they're not nearly as heavy on man as they were a year ago. You've got an obvious threat in a guy like a Makai Lemon. In theory, it makes sense to just stick Leonard Moore on him, but Makai Lemon works like 2/3 of the time out of the slot, which is not typically where they put Leonard Moore. Will they put him here, there? It's a fair question. I don't think the other guys that they have are going to be much of a match for Makai Lemon. I think it would behoove them to put Leonard Moore on him, but we'll see. We'll see what they decide to do, to what end they mix that up. I'm not as confident as the other guys in pass coverage. And so there's a question of, well, if you take away Makai Lemon, then what happens to Jacoby Lane? They can put Christian Gray on him. Christian Gray is great for like 2 to 3 pass interference calls in this game, no matter who he's covering. Had a good game last week, to his credit, but alas.
And by the way, USC has been utilizing Lake McCree a bunch at times.
Yeah. So there are a bunch of weapons here is what I am getting at on the USC side of things that definitely give me cause for pause or favorite pet charity.
Of course.
What scares me most, though, is actually what USC's been able to do on the ground this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Notre Dame's going to have a really tough time holding them down in all facets because it is not the same defense.
Am I out of line when I said that Notre Dame doesn't seem to have the killers? Like, you look up the middle, and I'm trying to remember the exact names. You know that, like, previous names have been leaking out of my brain like an overstuffed sausage. As I remember, I said, who did I say? I said Malachi Coley, which I think I combined Malachi Tony and, was it Stacy Coley, a receiver for Miami way back? Okay, so if memory serves, I totally feel this way about everything in my life, that every brain has a capacity for something like 5,000 names, and then after you hit that, everything is going to go awry. Howard Cross and Riley Mills last year, and they were beat up.
Sure.
Jack Kaiser
no longer on the team.
No, that's what I'm saying. Right. Like, these were the guys that they had. Xavier Watts, right? That they had these dudes on all 3 levels that made offenses really, really hesitate. And I just, in the limited amount, you've obviously watched much more Notre Dame than I have this season. Yeah. it doesn't seem like those guys are on that level, at least not yet.
Well, the line was a question coming into the year, and it remains a question.
Totally.
And there was a huge question around pass rush, getting pressure. I think it has improved. It still is not where it was a year ago. And I still think there is an open question about how they deal with a good rushing offense, which is what I think USC can be and has been so far this season. And I'm concerned about the balance of that USC offense. I don't think Notre Dame is good enough to stop all of it. And I am fearful that they're going to get gashed on the ground, which is partially why I think this is going to be, as you said, a back and forth affair. I just think it's headed in that direction. And furthermore, Notre Dame is just as good on offense. The CJ Carr experiment has worked famously.
He's been really good.
Famously. If you have not purchased your CJ Carr stock yet, I would implore you to do so before this weekend. Because after this weekend, everybody will know CJ Carr. CJ Carr is really good. He is really good. This is not me exaggerating. Just watch him if you have yet to watch him.
I agree.
He is going to have a good game against USC. I think Notre Dame can push USC around. I think they can push them around. I think they're going to be solid on the ground. I think it's going to be a lot of Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, and when it's not those two guys, it's going to be CJ Carr through the air. So this truly could be a situation in which the last team with the ball ends up winning.
Okay.
I'm with you. I do not trust Notre Dame's defense, even though they have gotten better. But I do think it's at home. I do think ultimately they've got more playmakers that I trust on offense. And I've got them 38-35.
But that you didn't answer the question.
What was the question?
Are you open to the possibility of USC winning?
I am open to the possibility as well. Yeah.
Okay.
I am.
Yeah.
And I may have even wavered in the middle of that preview. 38-31, 38-35, somewhere in there. I think it's within that number, 7.5.
Yeah.